Hey guys, my name is Neel and welcome to Neel Workshop Zone. So in this episode we will be talking about numbers. So in previous episodes we talked about events, strings, objects, classes, etc. So if you haven't checked that out, recommend checking out those episodes because in this episode we will be talking about numbers. So without further ado, let's talk about it. So you might be thinking to yourself, why am I discussing about numbers? Isn't that a simple concept? Well, unlike other programming languages, and not only unlike other programming languages, but even though a lot of people might consider numbers to be a simple concept, there are still a lot more rules and a lot more interesting stuff regarding numbers that is really helpful when you're writing code for JavaScript. So without further ado, let's talk about some of them. So first of all, unlike other programming languages like JavaScript, Python, etc., well, not JavaScript, I mean we're talking about JavaScript, but when you compare other programming languages like Java, Python, etc. to JavaScript, we basically figured out that unlike other programming languages, in JavaScript there is only one number data type. There isn't integer or boolean, etc. Stuff like that. But in JavaScript you only have number, and you use that number as a data type. And one other thing is that numbers can be written with or without decimal expansion. So we just write numbers like 1, 1.2, etc. Your usual way. But one more important thing is that you can also write numbers which have scientific exponent notation. So for example, you can write numbers like 1, 2, 3, E5 or 1, 2, 3, minus 5. Numbers like that which have very big values or very minuscule values. So you can also write numbers like that when you're dealing with numbers in JavaScript. And also, like I was saying, numbers can be stored in 64 bits. Not can be stored, they are stored in 64 bits. And one other important thing or one important concept we need to learn is integer precision. Now, integer precision basically tells us up till how many digits can we write a number. So for example, when you're writing a number, the maximum number of digits that we can write is 15. And if you're talking about decimal numbers, then the number is 17. So by writing stuff similar to that, we will make sure that the code we have written does not exceed the value and it doesn't strain JavaScript code. So one more important thing, floating point precision numbers, which are basically decimal numbers, are not arithmetically correct all the time. So for example, when you're working with JavaScript and let's say I wrote something like 0.1 plus 0.2 is equals to something and print, you'll expect the answer to be 0.3, but it doesn't really happen that way for the most part. So what we tend to do is, instead of making sure that errors does not occur, we basically use multiply and divide option. So how we write it is 0.1 into 10 plus 0.1 or 0.2 into 10 divided by 10. By doing this, it makes sure that the JavaScript code runs perfectly without any errors. So this is also really important. Now, one really important thing that we need to learn is that the plus symbol, this, is used for addition and also for string concentration, or concentration as you can call it. But basically what string concentration is adding up two strings. We talked about it in previous episodes regarding strings. But let us assume, or let's take an example where x is equals to 10 and y is equals to 20, and they ask you to print x plus 1. Now obviously your answer will be 30, right? Now what if I wrote this in inverted commas? Now this means that the number I have written is a string. So what will happen now? Well, due to string concentration, the answer here is 2010 or 1020, sorry, 1020, because we basically wrote one string and one number, so the computer basically thinks that both of these are strings. And in the same way, if we write two strings, we will also get the same value. But imagine, let me take my tester. But imagine if I wrote z is equals to 30. Let me remove this. Let's see. Okay. So let us put double quotation marks for the last one, and let us take that first two as the numbers. So now if I ask the JavaScript code to print x plus y plus z, what do you think the answer will be? Now, if you follow my previous examples, you would probably assume 102030 is the answer. But you're wrong, because the answer you'll actually get is 3030. Because, well, when you look at the code, or when JavaScript looks at the code, it basically adds up these two numbers, and then it considers the added number as string, which it adds to the string and becomes string consultation. So when you have two or more numbers, it'll basically add those numbers and then turn them into string consultation. Now let's talk about NaN. So NaN is an anagram, which basically stands for not a number. So not a number is basically not a code, but a function that you can use, where when you use this, you can basically use to determine if the value you have entered is a number or not. Most of the time we use this in other code when writing a website, stuff like that. But let us assume that I written something x is equals to chicken, and I ask y is equals to 2. So I said print x into 10 plus y. Now obviously it will show an error, right? But in this scenario it will show an NaN, not a number. So it will tell us that this is a number, so the code doesn't work. And in a similar way, we can also find out if a number is, well, if a data type is number or not by using the isNaN. By using these curly brackets, what we basically ask the computer is whether the code we have written up is a number or not, which might help us when working on a website, and if somebody, the user inputs the wrong number, so you have to make sure that he only enters numbers and not, letters. So yeah, this is basically about JavaScript numbers, well, not JavaScript, but yeah, this is basically about JavaScript numbers. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk more about numbers. There are still 1 to 2 good concepts regarding numbers which I could explain to you, and yeah, we'll talk about that in the next episode. But hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out any new videos. And that's all folks, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.